As the president of the Japan Tea Central Association, I am honored to speak about Japanese tea. I also express my respect to foreign correspondents who daily present Japan's image to countries around the world. The Japan Tea Central Association is a nationwide organization dedicated to the development of the Japanese tea industry, composed of producers and tea merchants from various tea-producing regions from Kagoshima Prefecture in the southern part of the Japanese archipelago to Saitama Prefecture, the northernmost suitable cultivation area. I myself also serve as the chairman of the Shizuoka Prefecture Tea Industry Chamber, which has led Japanese tea industry for centuries. Today, taking advantage of the July 10th certification of the Japanese tea GI, I would like to talk about the recent domestic and international situation and challenges surrounding Japanese tea. We would like to introduce Japanese tea not just as a luxury item, but as an important asset connecting Japanese culture, region, industry, and diplomacy. Around the world, specialty shops for Japanese tea and matcha cafes are springing up one after another, and interest in Japanese tea, especially matcha, is rapidly growing. Behind this is not only the global rise in health consciousness, but also growing interest in coexistence with nature, sustainability, and Japanese culture itself. Japanese tea and matcha are used in confectionery and cooking, and even in beauty and health fields, becoming part of a new lifestyle. Japanese tea is more than just a beverage. Its value is rapidly expanding from culture and regional products to world brands. This spread is not a temporary trend. Values such as safety, security, and quality and natural origin are highly valued, and the focus is on how to deliver authentic Japanese tea to consumers worldwide. The rising demand for Japanese tea or matcha is clearly reflected in the numbers. In 2025, global tea production, including black tea, green tea, and other varieties, is estimated at approximately 7 million tons. By comparison, Japan's annual tea production is around 70,000 tons, accounting for roughly 1% of global production. In 2025, the export value of Japanese tea reached 72.1 billion yen, an increase of 98.2% over the previous year. Export volume also rose to 12,672 tons, up to 43.4% on year. Both figures represent the highest level ever recorded. The United States remains the largest export market for Japanese tea, which exports totaling 29.3 billion yen, accounting for approximately 35% of Japanese total tea exports. At the same time, the market for Japanese tea continues to expand across Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and other regions, steadily strengthening its presence in the global marketplace. However, while the global popularity of matcha continues, demand for tencha, the raw material that you mentioned, tencha has surged domestically in Japan, making production systems insufficient and development. These issues are a major challenge. In addition, the Japanese tea industry faces new challenges, such as responding to different pesticide residue standards for each export destination and establishing a stable supply system. The demand for Japanese tea is not only driven by overseas markets. Even within Japan, many foreign travelers visiting Japan experience Japanese tea through tea ceremony experiences, Japanese tea cafes, and tours of production areas. And even after returning to their countries, more people are buying tea because they want to taste that tea they drank in Japan again. In other words, inbound and exports are not separate markets, but create synergies with each other. The excitement experienced in Japan leads to overseas purchases of Japanese tea and matcha, and those who have learned about Japanese tea abroad then visit Japan, further expanding this virtuous cycle is what Japanese tea is extremely important for the future. On the other hand, the expansion of global market is also creating new challenges. Overseas, there are cases where non-Japanese products are sold as matcha or Japanese green tea. Furthermore, as Japanese tea grows in popularity, issues have been more serious at production sites. A shortage of workers, aging workers, climate change responses, and rising logistic costs, leading to rising prices for matcha and Japanese tea that cannot meet demand, making it difficult to obtain affordable tea domestically. This is precisely why Japanese tea now requires not only increasing quantity, but also a strategy that grows while protecting value. And what supports this value is the Japanese tea culture itself, which has been cultivated over a long history. In Japan, tea has long been cherished in various situations, such as welcoming people, feeding the seasons, talking with family and friends, or quietly calming your mind alone. A cup of tea embodies the spirit of compassion, gratitude for nature, and the Japanese values of valuing wa in Japanese tradition. In the tea ceremony, where there is a phrase called wakei seiji, it is a spirit of respecting one another, valuing harmony, and facing each other with a pure heart. This way of thinking is deeply rooted not only in tea rooms, but also in Japanese daily life and society. I believe that the reason Japanese tea is accepted worldwide is not just because of its deliciousness or health benefits, but the values behind this, a compassionate heart and coexistence with nature, may resonate with many people. Throughout Japan, there are distinctive tea-producing regions that makes the most of their unique climate. The map says, indicate the sites of the producing area. In addition to the rich waters of Mount Fuji, for example, my hometown, Shizuoka Prefecture, is known as one of Japan's leading tea-producing regions. In addition to the rich waters of Mount Fuji, a World Cultural Heritage Site, the temperature differences between day and night, and the foggy climate, the producers' relentless efforts to cultivate techniques and quality over many years have supported the high reputation of Shizuoka tea. However, excellent Japanese tea is not created by nature alone. Within this is a long-standing effort of each producer who has carefully nurtured the tea trees while carefully observing the changing seasons. The value of Japanese tea lies precisely in the harmony of the region's nature and human activities, nurtured as one. The symbol of this is a Chagusaba farming method. This traditional farming method, where grass cut from the surrounding grasslands is spread across the tea fields, has long been passed down as wisdom for growing high-quality tea, enriching the soil, and cultivating high-quality tea. Furthermore, this grassland forms a valuable environment where many plants and animals live. Highly regarded as an excellent initiative that balances agriculture production and biodiversity conservation, Shizuoka's Chagusaba farming method has been recognized as a GIAHS, globally important agricultural heritage system over the world. When discussing Japanese tea culture, another thing not to forget is the tradition of hand-rolled tea, temomicha. Nowadays, much of the tea-making process is mechanized, but the origin of this technique lies in the hand-rolling tea, where artisans carefully knead the tea leaves while carefully assessing their condition. The technique of carefully finishing each leaf by sensing the moisture, temperature, aroma, and softness of the tea leaves with all 5 senses is a precious cultural heritage passed down over many years. Even today, with advances in machine tea making, hand-rolling techniques remain the standard for quality and are cherished as the foundation of Japanese tea production. I believe that such techniques are not just manufacturing methods, but wisdom passed down from person to person and are the very essence of Japanese manufacturing culture. In recent years, interest has been growing not only in loving Japanese tea, but also in experiencing it. Walk through the tea fields, experience tea picking, observe the tea-making process, and brew and taste the tea yourself. This kind of tea tourism is a major attraction for people visiting Japan from overseas. I feel that these initiatives offer new possibilities for Japanese tea. Japanese tea is not just an export product. We invite people from all over the world to visit the region and enjoy the local nature, culture, and interactions with the local people. This itself energizes the region and deepens understanding of Japan. As global interest in Japanese tea grows, it is important to properly preserve its value, and pass it on to the future. A key pillar for this is a system and strategy that protects the Japanese tea brand. The global rise in popularity of Japanese tea and matcha is bringing great potential to Japanese tea. However, at the same time, the environment surrounding Japanese tea is undergoing significant challenges I mentioned before. Overseas, there are, again, I would like to emphasize, there are cases where tea leaves and processed products not from Japan are sold under labels like matcha or Japanese green tea. Such counterfeit products risk undermining the efforts made by producers over many years and their trust in Japanese tea itself. In light of this situation, the Japan Tea Industry Central Association I'm chaired right now has been promoting the restoration of the national GI for all Japanese teas. Efforts to preserve the quality and traditions of each region have been underway, but the system to safeguard the entire Japanese tea as a single brand has not been sufficient. The national GI clearly demonstrates to both domestic and international the fact that all Japanese tea is produced in Japanese and crafted under traditional Japanese techniques and quality control, providing a new foundation for maintaining trust in the entire Japanese tea brand. I believe that this national GI is not merely an intellectual property system. This system protects the efforts of producers, allows consumers to confidently choose authentic tea, and serves as a proof of trust to properly communicate the value of Japanese tea to the world. The system for protecting Japanese tea brand is not limited to the national GI. In Japan, there is a regional collective trademark system that protects each production brand, such as Shizuoka cha, Shizuoka tea, Uji tea, Yame tea, and Sayama tea, and intellectual property. This system is extremely important for preserving the history, quality, and brand value that each region has nurtured over many years. On the other hand, GI is a system where the government recognizes the connection between local natural conditions, tradition, manufacturing methods, and quality. In other words, the national GI protects the trust of all Japanese tea, while regional collective trademarks safeguard the individuality and brand of each production area. I believe these two systems complement each other and serve as two wheels that enhance the overall value of the Japanese tea and matcha brands. In the global market, not only price, but also quality and trust are now being chosen. Japanese tea is valued worldwide not only for its deliciousness, efforts towards safety and security, careful craftsmanship, coexisting with nature, and culture cultivated over a long history are all recognized as a brand. That is why we must not only pursue quantity, but also cultivate value. We believe that building a market where consumers around the world can choose Japanese tea with confidence, emphasize with its value, and be loved for a long time is an important mission of the Japan Tea Industry Central Association. The national government demonstrated this approach in the basic policy on the promotion of tea industry and tea culture, revised by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries in April this year. This basic policy views the global expansion of matcha demand and the growth of export markets as major opportunities and outlines a comprehensive approach to developing production systems to meet these demands, strengthening export competitiveness, expanding domestic demand, and passing on tea culture. Furthermore, it is positioned as an important pillar to integrate production, processing, distribution, and sales, developing it as a sustainable industry and ensuring the succession of the Japanese tea culture to future generations. I see this basic policy as not only a plan to protect the tea industry, but a national strategy to nurture Japanese tea for the future. On the other hand, the Japanese tea industry is facing many challenges. Various challenges on the ground are becoming apparent, including aging of producers, labor shortages, responses to climate change, rising material and logistics costs, and the rapid expansion of global matcha demand to address raw material shortages. These points are also indicated in the basic policy as important directions, such as strengthening the production base to meet overseas demand, establishing cultivation and processing systems with an export eye on the market, securing labor, and introducing smart agriculture. Furthermore, through labor saving through digital technology, quality control for export, organic cultivation, and environmentally conscious production, and collaboration with tourism and food culture, Japanese tea holds the potential to develop into a growth industry that supports the region's future. We must join forces with producers, government agencies, research institutions, and distribution to further enhance the value of Japanese tea and pass it on to the next generation as an industry we can be proud of worldwide. As foreign minister, I have visited many countries and regions and engaged in countless dialogue. Diplomacy is not based solely on treaties and agreements. Understanding each other's culture and building trust between people forms the foundation that supports trust between countries. I believe that Japanese tea is one of the Japanese representative soft powers. As the world faces division and conflict, the power of Japanese tea may hold greater significance than ever before. Japanese tea reflects the very nature of Japan as a country, a sensibility that values the changing of the 4 seasons, craftsmanship that pays attention to every detail, wisdom that has lived in harmony with the local nature, trust built over a long period. All of these factors support the Japanese tea brand. This is precisely why protecting the value of Japanese tea means preserving Japanese culture, protecting Japanese agriculture, and protecting Japanese communities. Today, global interest in Japanese tea is higher than ever before. It is our responsibility not to end this opportunity as a temporary boom, but to properly convey the value of Japanese tea and pass it on to the future. Through Japanese tea, I spoke about Japanese culture, regions, industries, and thoughts on the future. Japanese tea is not only a familiar presence that accompanies the daily lives of Japanese people, but also holds great potential to promote the value of Japan to the world. To all our foreign correspondents, I hope that through today's lecture, you will not just see Japanese tea as a beverage, but as a reflection of Japanese history, culture, people activities, and diplomacy, and challenges toward the future, and share its appeal with the world. Dialogue that begins with a cup of tea connects people, links regions and the world, and builds trust between nations. I would like to conclude by stating that I believe that this accumulation will become the foundation for building a peaceful and sustainable international society. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your kindness.